That's really good.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Oh, sorry, everybody. Here's hoping it's working. Here's hoping everybody can hear me to all the chatters out there. Yeah. Okay, Q. So 30 seconds in, you'll be able to cut the first 30 seconds. We're sorted out together and we're going to roll. So I'm going to go ahead and snap my fingers for you. And then after the snap, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to launch. Okay. So here we go. Welcome, everyone. This is the PTK podcast series 2024. This is for the Beta Sigma Mu chapter, which is the Trinity River campus of TCC in beautiful downtown Fort Worth, Texas. This is our third installment thus far of the series. And today we have Ryan. Thank you so much for doing this and welcome.
It is so cool to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for offering.
Yeah, certainly. I wouldn't have it any other way. So go ahead and just take a moment, introduce yourself, and then we'll get going, and I'll start asking some questions.
All right. My name is Ryan. So nice to be here. I'm currently 25 years old. Plan on taking over the world by 30, hopefully. Something along that line. If not, I definitely want my own video gaming company started. Just want to make good games, man. Just want to make some good games.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that before. It's been really fun. So before we get into the details of that stuff, why don't you go ahead and tell us, how did you end up at TCC specifically? How did that story go for you?
It started out initially because my mother worked here.
Mhm.
However, so many centuries ago, I initially started out at South Campus. Actually, no, I started here, quote unquote, was with College for Kids.
Okay.
I went to, once again, I went to the South Campus initially, did that entire thing. I went all over to literally every single campus for TCC. So not only am I acquainted with Northwest, Southwest, Northeast, all of it, I I never actually came to Trinity River for College for Kids. Only time. 100% recommend this campus, though. It's an amazing place, amazing people. But it started with that, and then, standard thing, make your way through high school, make your way through the adult life, or whenever you can. I actually never knew what I wanted to do. I was given 3 options from my family, which was either join the military, get out of the house, or go to college. Now, I have been at TCC for 8 years. You can guess which one I abused heavily. But initially, what brought me to the Trinity River campus was I went through like a bad patch of, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did not do well in my grades. And I was a year off, a year of just honestly messing around, no direction in life whatsoever.
Sure.
And I did not know at the time, but I was on academic probation because of that, because of my bad grades, because I essentially dropped out, gave up. I decided to go back because I was given the 3 options again. I love our soldiers, but I will not join the military. And I will not leave my house because I am not financially responsible enough yet. So I ultimately came back here.
Sure.
And what happened was the South Campus's academic advisors, I believe, were the ones who were supposed to help me, the ones I was supposed to talk to. And I got no help from them. I got no real help. They were basically just reading off a script. I forgot the woman's name, but boiling mad when I walked out because there was no help. Because I did your 1 year, you're supposed to take a 1 year break or you do a essential re-education course. I did the 1 year break.
Sure.
She acted like I didn't do it. You need to go take this class. I was like, I don't need to. So I was like, I'm done with this. Thank you for your help. And I went home that day. I was like, I don't want to go to the South Campus. It's those people. That one woman ruined the whole campus for me.
Sure.
She really did. And then my mom, excuse me,
of course,
worked at this campus, the Trinity River campus, in the nursing department. And I already came here randomly. Either she needed help in the office or something along that line. So at the time, everybody knows me and knew me. And I was like, I like this is a nice. Then it was a nice campus over there.
Sure.
And then she took me to here, the real campus, so to speak, not the nursing campus. And we walked around. It was a nice campus.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people here, just the staff itself, trying to register, the academic advisors. Oh, that's what got me. I loved my first academic advisor. She was great. That's what sold me to stay here.
Mm.
And then, like, once again, I messed around, still not knowing what I wanted to do. So I took every single non-major course here
Mm-hmm.
until at one point, this was maybe 2020, actually, when COVID hit.
Mm.
Everything went horribly wrong. TC offered only online, and
Sure.
due to ADHD, I cannot sit still in front of a screen unless I'm playing video
All
games.
day long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just playing video games, Skyrim, all of that. Something to actually occupy the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, 2020 got over with, and TC was allowed to actually get people here again. So I immediately lunged on that.
The opportunity to come back.
It was like the opportunity to actually like be in person, to have like, there's a time and a place. I firmly believe that. Home is not a time and a place for schoolwork.
Sure.
So the second I did that, I jumped back here.
Great.
And it's just been a ride, man.
Yeah. So, so many people are from somewhere else. Has this area always been your home? Are you from here?
Yes, I've been born and raised in Fort Worth.
Okay.
From the little Petri dish where I began as an in vitro baby
to,
as I will say, being cryogenically frozen for 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, so that is what I wanted to talk about first, just because it's so unique and interesting. So obviously you have no memory of being in a petri dish. So when did you find this out? How did your parents tell you? How did it come up? Like tell us the story of how how this became ingrained.
It was in my teen years, when you're most impressionable, where basically you hear something you like or you get something in your head and you're just like, yes, no matter how stupid it is.
Sure.
So I basically hopped on an anti-science just ring or rant at one point or another. It stuck with me.
Okay.
And my mother clearly was just like, had it.
And anti-science in what way?
Just rejection
of it.
Science bad.
Yeah.
Go natural.
Okay.
Normal Karen, basically, or Ken.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was, nah. And then she just like dropped it on me. She's like, yeah, you were not made naturally. You were a test tube baby. I was both enlightened and my entire world shattered
simultaneously.
Yeah,
in that moment.
Yeah. So, tell me about it. What is in vitro fertilization? Basically, how it is neither of my parents were in the room when I was being made. Not very many people can say that.
Sure.
But what it was is I was put into a petri dish. How basic anatomy works. Put that in there.
Let it fertilize.
Yeah, mixed it, put me in an incubator. Sure. Wait to see if I actually grew. And then from the story I was told, I was not. I am the first successful firstborn in my family, but I am not the first. And what it was, so I was put into, I'm going to call it cryogenic for the entire this because I'm a nerd, but I was frozen for X amount of years. I'm guessing 8 or 9. Or that's where that comes from.
How far along did they let you get?
I was exactly
before they freeze you.
I was exactly 36 cells.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But the whole thing where that came from was since I wasn't the first to be like made, born, whatever. The ones who came, the one who actually was close enough to be successful came before me. My mother had a miscarriage of that, and because like you don't do just one little, mixture.
Sure.
You have like a whole listing. Literally everyone else died except for me.
Wow.
So now that I've learned that, which was maybe 1-2 months ago, well, the seeds were there. They just never bloomed. So it's been more of a year, and now I've actually been embracing it. I quite literally am a fighter, as my cells have literally fought for survival itself.
Yeah. Well, so unique too, to know that, tens or maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars and a lot of planning. Like your parents really, really wanted you.
Yeah, they
you know?
really wanted me.
Sure. How fun. That's great. So, how old were you when mom decided to lay that on you? You said third or fourth grade-ish?
Well, I was like, this is like 13,
Oh,
14,
13-ish? Okay,
like
got it.
when you're in your stupid teens. Yeah,
Cheeky pre-teenage.
where you
Yeah,
think you know it all, but you
right.
refuse to move out.
Starting to get pretty mouthy and
Yeah,
big for your
where that
britches, as
is.
they say.
Yeah, pretty much. And then she threw it on me. Like I said, whole world shattered at the exact same time. I was enlightened.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then just doing whatever basic research you can
Uh-huh.
with just recent stuff. It's like, yeah, I like in vitro. That's cool. That's so fun to say. Hey, my mom and dad were in the room when I was made.
So interesting.
I was a test tube baby.
Yeah. So did that, do you think that ended up having some kind of effect on the rest of your junior high and high school years? Did you take science more seriously?
I did.
Uh-huh.
I specifically took not necessarily chemistry, but like any form of just like how things are made. So
Sure.
like the basic matter,
Uh-huh.
how all that works, how basic life began. I took to that, which was
So the bio stuff, the anatomy stuff.
Well, I already naturally gravitated towards that regardless because my
Mhm.
mother's a nurse.
Oh, okay. Of
Right.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just like human body cool, basically.
That's great. And so this leisurely adventure through college, how is that developed? Would you say that you finally are set? You feel comfortable where you're taking your academic career now?
I finally know what I want to do after like what 8+ years of being at TCC, riding that train. I now finally I know what I want to do versus I know what I have to do. When I mean like that, like any modern person now knows video games suck. I like video games. I love playing video games. The first game I ever played was Snoopy versus the Red Baron at 8 years old, only on trips. Like we go to Colorado, New Mexico, that kind of place. I play on a little laptop. And then it grew. It grew at about 10. When I was 10 years old, I finally got a Nintendo DS. This was 2011, I believe. It was My Sims Agents. On Nintendo DS. And basically what that was is put yourself in there. And then fast forward playing.
As far as your ability to create entire environments.
Yeah. You could literally adjust what the town looked like sci-fi, the standard sci-fi.
Sure.
Of like blue and just techie stuff looked really cool. Always looked so cool to me. And then like you customize your house and all of that. So I went from there. And then we went fast forward. Actually, it was also My Sims Agents was also the first time I ever asked my parents for help in a video game. I don't know how that got into me, but I abhorred doing that. It's a game. Figure it out yourself. You're capable. You can do it.
Sure.
The puzzle was I forgot the puzzle, but the answer was 50. This was what? I was 10 years old. 15 years. I have since played that game. I will never forget that. That was the first time I ever got so mad. That's where it started. And then fast forward the entire gaming career. You see all this cool new stuff. Baldur's Gate, Skyrim, Call of Duty even. You know, it's fallen. And which brings that up to like games kind of suck now. Like they're either filled with a political thing, which is so irritating, or they're just not to the quality they used to be.
Got it.
And that's where this obsession has come in.
And I'm sure you know or hang out with other gamers as well.
Absolutely.
So this is a popular opinion. Like most of these games are trash.
Yes. Yeah. Most modern keyword modern games are trash.
Sure.
And that's where this obsession came from. It's just like, you know what? Screw it. I can do better than these people. I've built communities. I write Skyrim fan fictions. They're good. I know they're good because I've actually sent these out to people. I have listened to the responses.
Sure.
The only responses I don't listen to are just like, this is trash. This is shit. I'm not going to listen to that. Give me real constructive criticism.
Sure.
And doing that and having actually playing games and having some semblance of how video games were made, I then decided to like, I know my strength. My strength is in stories. I can spin a great story. I cannot for the life of me make a game. But I can make stories. And then thanks to the Bard's College, or no, the Arcane's University, which is a Discord. It's a public Discord as well. Well, not public, but they're cool people. They for free. They are modders of Skyrim who have like systematically figured out how to teach people what to do. Either it be voice acting, programming, dungeon building, story writing, where I fell underneath.
Sure.
All of it. And they covered it. And I fell underneath story writing. It was like, that's cool. So I'm good at story writing mostly.
Yeah. Well, it's you bring up such an important theme. College and university costs all of us so much money now, So
Right.
if you feel some kind of undue or unnecessary pressure to start early and you don't have that passion yet,
Yeah.
you can really rack up a lot of
not only do you rack
years
up,
and debt and
you
stress
rack up
and
a bunch of like, why are you no doctor yet kind of thing.
Mhm.
Or it's just like, why are you just messing around? It's like, I don't know what to do. That brought me up to like, at one point I did fall out of TCC at the Trinity River campus because I saw a bunch of pretentious people walking around and I was like, I don't want this. I want to be humble. I want to learn what's like actually working. I went working. I've been from working in the food industry, which I will never go back to. Never again.
What did you choose to do? Did you try kitchen stuff, waiter stuff, a little bit of everything?
I was a food runner, which is basically like the middleman between waiter and like actual kitchen. So I interacted with both. So either the kitchen staff, being the kitchen staff, if anyone's ever worked in the food industry, you know full well what I mean, versus the waiters who are up front. Kitchen staff are just cooler. But I was doing that back and forth, and lunch rushes, dinner rushes were just absolute hell. Like,
it's a lot of stress.
It's not even a lot of stress. It's just dealing with people. It's the worst thing. Like, one guy, I won't forget him, called me out on the other side of the restaurant.
Yikes.
Because I was holding up the tray and I'm super thin. He's like, yeah, you build those muscles. I was like,
good one, buddy.
You.
Yeah.
We'll spit in your food later. Never did that. We don't do that.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
But I was just like I'm done. And just like how one of my managers was really nice. He actually worked the floor with us, but like just how it was managed. Like there's no off time. There's either you show up and they boot you because you've been there too long.
Sure.
Or you stay until closing. And staying until closing was awful.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Like what, they close at 10. By the time you finish cleaning, putting up the food,
1,
all of that. Yeah, it's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
It was just awful.
Yeah.
And then,
even when you think you're done, when you think you're absolutely done, it's about another hour.
Yeah, you are not. And then I did that for about 4 months. I was like, if this is life, it ain't worth it. Back to college. So I went back to college again. This was 2019 when I worked at the food industry. And then this is about, I went back to college that year. So it was like spring semester was done. It was fall semester. Knocked out what I could, because that's when the end of the world happened. Just on the cusp of that.
Of course.
So I then once again dropped out. Didn't do anything. It was 2020 all the way up to 2022 was awful. It was just stress, either be it at home or just like how things were.
Sure.
And with how I am, I can't sit still, but I can stay in my room for like days on end.
When you're dealing with these weeks or months or years, where you do feel under stress and pressure, how have you chosen to get through those time periods? How do you deal with it in a healthy way that works for you?
There was no healthy way for me that I figured out. It basically made me despise my parents for like equivalently the shortest but longest time at the exact same time, because at one point or another I wanted to go out. This was either 2022 or 2021. Everything's so blurred together.
Sure.
But I wanted to go out. I wanted to actually get something that I needed. And then my mother's like, no, I'm worried about you. Don't go out. And then a day later, she says, go out, get a job. And what that immediately spoke to me is like my life meant nothing unless I'm earning something.
Sure.
So like for that shattered my relationship with, oh, that didn't, it shattered. It shattered it for a long time. And I despised her just for that, because she's also thrown out that I'm an investment.
Mhm.
Spin it how you want to. Here's how I heard it: is once again, I was not her son. I was a thing to like have money to put money into it.
Sure.
And it really put us such a hard time with it,
Uh-huh.
which
Mhm.
like yeah, it sucked. But
Mhm.
however, like recently, I had a girlfriend for the very first time ever.
Mhm.
And she turned out to actually be was emotionally abusive. She
Okay.
would manipulate me. She would manipulate my emotions.
Mhm.
No one ever laid a hand on me. I'm still aggressive. I still fight. You lay a hand on me, you lose the hand or I break it. But so you have to abuse me other ways.
Okay.
So she did that, and then after like just hearing or after she didn't like me playing video games. Video games is a massive core of who I am. I will never
Okay.
not be a gamer.
Sure.
You cannot stop me.
Mhm.
So I was playing with my friends. She always hated it when I was playing video games, either with other people because I
Mhm.
wasn't having her.
Sure.
So at one point or another, I tried to smooth things out because she would always say like, "Oh, I don't want to do this anymore." And me like seeing how to basically be a man and how to be in a proper relationship because I never done this before. Research is always best. I learned how to, and the best thing was work through it. We barely worked through it. But one thing with that in that research was abusers will try to separate you from your parents. Now, obviously, I've ranted, we've had issues, but like I still love my mom. I
Of
still
course.
love my dad.
Yeah.
They really have done so much to me, for me, not to me. Yeah, for me. And just pride itself is kind of what stops us from being what healthy. We're all prideful. We're all stubborn. It's in our nature.
Mhm.
I've come to embrace this, but bringing it back to that is that she threw something out that made me like question a little bit more. Once again I smoothed it out. So like for like a little grace period, I was underneath a lot of stress because I
Sure.
did not know if we were gonna essentially break up or not. And granted, I love this woman. I really did. I would have done a lot and everything I could have because it was because of her as well that I essentially started being the equivalent of a man, get my financial security in check, go to the gym properly so I can actually be able to lift and carry people out, learned how to fight, learned how to fight properly. But at one point I was playing with my two friends. They were a lot older than me. They're 40 and 50. And because they're being older and because I am smart, I was like, hey, how do I handle this?
Mhm.
And and one of my friend was like, just be aware. And the other one, who was also a girl, who probably would be my wife if things were better in the world. She's like, no, get rid of her. Like that's not how you treat you. And then at one point, and the said girlfriend, not the online friends, were threw out that we were a long distance relationship. We were going to be able to actually see each other for the first time
Mhm.
in about 8 months. And then she threw out because she got upset. She didn't want to be in this anymore and she'll cancel the trip. That devastated me.
Sure.
First time I ever cried in front of my friends. And they're like, that's not good. And I just like, I'm done. So I broke up with her. But what that ties into is I went to my mom for the first time because I had so much hatred and anger in my heart
Mm.
that I wanted to quit.
Sure.
I wanted to quit being hateful and angry.
Yeah,
So
of course.
So I told my mother about this. I told her about all my disdain. Basically, I said I want to have a better, proper relationship, or like
Mhm.
whatever the equivalent of a proper relationship is. I'll still mouth off if something's. I'll still mouth off just to be a shit. Versus I'll actually like, this is not good. We are not doing this kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then I send her memes back and forth every so often.
Okay.
But yeah, like we're good. I say as of ironically, yesterday she did something.
You and the ex?
No, me and my mother.
You and your mother.
The
Got it.
ex, she gone. The ex is
Okay,
gone.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, let me clarify that. Yeah, the ex is gone out of my life completely.
Sure.
So like my relationship with my mother is so much better though,
Oh, great. Good.
and with my father as well. Excuse me.
Mhm.
Didn't sound nasty on the mic. And that's basically where it at. So this was 2023. And after all of that, I went back to college, like properly. I was like, all right, we're gonna pick a degree,
Sure.
something that's useful, something that I can apply.
Hmm.
And that was business. And where that stemmed from was we were in a garage sale. We were at a garage sale. I cleaned us out. I got us so much money just selling. And that's that. And the profit proved it because I was paid a portion of our profits. And I was like, that's a lot of money. I like this. I'm good
Sure.
at this.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do now. And then seeing how just video games were and everything, I was like, okay, we are starting a business. We're going to make better business. We're going to treat the employees properly. Because I've worked, I understand it's awful. And then I also want good products. So I'm trying to, so personally, right now, I'm still trying to figure out a way to like balance that out.
Hmm.
But that's basically where we're at now.
You mean balance out profit
Like,
margin with happy employees
right,
that are
like,
maximum productive
right, like
because they
8 hours.
enjoy what they're doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and 8 hours a day is too much to work. It really is because you have about a 6 hour productive period.
Tops.
Yeah,
Sure.
tops. And then everything else is just like
Mhm.
a slog.
Yeah.
Everything else is just like I'm done with this.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to balance that out to basically be productive for those 6 hours while still making good product, while still managing on a timeline, while still making money.
Sure. Of course. Yeah. So, how's that going? Have you taken it so far as filing a corporate structure? Are you working with people
I have,
creating product already?
in a sense, I have created communities and I've
Okay.
decided to
Got it.
reach out to those communities
Mhm.
because if I'm capable of building something,
Sure.
then I am capable. If I'm capable of helping someone build it and I apply what I gave to them to myself,
Got it.
instant,
Yeah.
just amazing.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you're practicing and spending time in the field, so these open source kind of collaborations, uh, you're going to get there. That's very, very exciting.
Right.
Incredible. So, tell us, what are some of the things that are up next for you?
Well, I don't know what's up next for me. It's still step one, step two, that kind of thing. But
Sure.
like overall plan is once we get that company started, it's gonna branch out.
Hmm.
It's gonna completely remain independent.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll do what I can. My plan is I will take investors, but I will use that money to then build up, give them their money back with whatever interest we agree on,
Sure.
because I will be in control.
Hmm.
It will not be. I will not answer to a board. I will not answer to anyone else
Got
because
it.
they will ruin it. They have, as far as I've seen, barely any few board members actually have a real vision outside of making money.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that for the most part. So, and this journey through school this time, how's it going? How much longer do you have?
That depends.
Depends.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like I've said, because I messed around for so long at TCC, I have 3 degrees. But due to just bureaucracy,
Sure.
I need to take extra classes despite my degrees genuinely being finished.
Oh, got it.
So I'm currently at Tarleton right now, just knocking out stuff.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's just it's a slog. It's a slog if you do too much at once. Do not take 5+ classes. It is awful. That's my biggest advice out there. Do not wear yourself down.
Yeah, and on that perspective, through this conversation today, what advice do you have or want to give, or what would some of your closing thoughts be? What do you want people to know about what you've gone through? Because you've learned so much this last half a dozen years or so, or 10. I mean,
I've done so much. I've looked back on my
yeah,
life.
emotionally, you've developed quite a lot. You've grown in areas of your personal relationships, family relationships.
Like I said, I've built communities.
Mhm.
I've looked back on that, and this is my somewhat new obsession. But when I was 17, I was a mod for the second biggest Assassin's Creed club on Xbox. 36,000 people.
Wow.
And the owner at one point got depressed and was like, "Hey, you want it?" I was sitting, I was sitting on the toilet at the time. I was like, "I'm 17. I don't know what to do."
Yeah.
And I look back on that now. I partially wish I'd taken it, but at the exact same time, because I was 17,
Mhm.
it's still stupid. I would have probably run it into the ground.
Oh, sure.
The club eventually disbanded.
Well,
no
and it
longer
could have
exists.
potentially consumed you.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't take it. I
Mhm.
said, let me be the last person out of all our mods to take it.
Sure.
Which then travels into like, I'm capable of building communities. I'm a part of so many streamer communities. I've helped set up either commands, mods, just entertainment.
Mhm.
But my closing thoughts would be that you think, to all the people out there, you think back on your life, everything you've been a part of, what you have done. Think about your skills. Develop a small ego, but maybe still be humble, and just apply it. You can and will be better. You're not alone either. There's 8 billion people on this planet. You can never be alone. It's just not possible. You may feel like it, but you're not. Just talk to someone, learn a community, be a part of that community, grow in that community, realize the skills you have learned or what you have applied in that community, and apply it to yourself.
Yeah, that's great. It's been a real pleasure being able to listen to how deeply you think. Very thoughtful man. I've always found you to be incredibly open and patient with people. You're a very active listener, very kind. We certainly appreciate your time today. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir. It's been so fun being on here.
It's been great. Yeah, let's do it again.
Yes, sir.
Have a great day.
You as well.